calling. So, who are you going to call? Well, no. How about you call 3P Excavating and Plumbing of Smithfield? From French drains and septic systems to site prep for homes and buildings, plus driveway and utility line clearing, 3P's does it all. Get your property ready the right way. Call 3P Excavating and Plumbing today at 724-880-5215 or find them on Facebook.
This Mother's Day, forget the candy and flowers. Win Mom a trip to Napa Valley at Live Casino. Earn entries every day starting May 1st and join our drawings on May 10th. You could win Mom-approved gifts like luxury perfumes, spa gift cards, wine subscriptions, and the grand prize, a trip to Napa Valley. Make this Mother's Day a winner at Live Casino, Route 30 at Westmoreland Mall. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Your local station, WMBS.
Good morning, and welcome to another Saturday edition of the Sportsline, being brought to you this morning by my good buddy Tom Vernon and Casey Sports Cafe, located right here on South Mount Vernon Avenue in Uniontown, the Firestone Insurance Agency in Normalville, and by Bogies at Duck Hollow, now under new management, serving lunches and dinners Monday through Saturday from 12 to 9, Sunday from 12 to 5. Come on out, enjoy fine dining and a round of golf. Phone 724-439-2150, located at 374 Duck Hollow Road in Uniontown. George Von Benko with you on this Saturday morning, and we've got a jam-packed show today. We're going to start our Fayette County Sports Hall of Fame interviews. The luncheon and golf outing is coming up June 19th at Pleasant Valley Golf Club in Connellsville. Golf is filling up, so you might want to get on board with that very quickly if you're thinking about playing golf. Best thing to do is call Katie Probst, and she's down at what used to be Cluss Lumber, 724-460-9231. That's the number to call. Get signed up for golf. It is filling up very quickly. We're also selling luncheon tickets. The golf outing slated for 8:30 Friday, June 19th at Pleasant Valley Golf Club, followed by the Hall of Fame luncheon. And we're going to do the first of our Hall of Fame interviews on today's show in hour number one. And then something special in hour number two, full hour, just about the entire hour, with basketball guru Sonny Vaccaro. It should be extremely interesting. That's coming up in hour number two. Let's get to the scoreboard very quickly. Major League Baseball action. Last night at Oracle Park in San Francisco, the Pirates fall to the San Francisco Giants 5-2. Other National League action. Washington over Miami 3-2. Colorado beats the Philadelphia Phillies 9-7. St. Louis shuts out San Diego 6-0. New York Mets take Arizona 3-1, and the LA Dodgers over Atlanta 3-1. Interleague play. Houston shuts out the Cincinnati Reds 10-0. Milwaukee Brewers 6, New York Yankees 0. And the Chicago Cubs beat Texas 7-1. In the American League, Toronto shuts out the LA Angels 2-0. Boston Red Sox shut out Tampa Bay 2-0. Athletics over Baltimore 4-3. Cleveland 6, Minnesota 4. Seattle takes the White Sox 12-8. And Kansas City beats the Detroit Tigers 4-3. NHL playoffs, Montreal beats Buffalo to tie that series 1-1. They take the Sabres 5-1. And Vegas over Anaheim 6-2. In the National Basketball Association playoffs, New York Knicks over the Philadelphia 76ers 108-94. And it was San Antonio over Miami, or Minnesota, should I say, 115 to 108. So, That's a look at the scoreboard. Let's get to sports obituaries very quickly, both from the baseball world. Saddened by the news, Bob Skinner, whose 6 decades of professional baseball included 2 World Series rings as a player and another as a coach, passed away in the San Diego area on Monday. He was 94. Skinner was the 3-time All-Star with the Pirates and a member of their 1960 World Series championship team. With his passing, only Vernon Law remains living from that 1960 ball club. The accomplished outfielder also played for the 1964 World Series champion St. Louis Cardinals. He was the hitting coach for the Pirates when they won it all again in 1979. That was all part of what Skinner's son Joel called a ridiculously long baseball life that also included a stint as the Phillies manager in 68-69 and several decades as a coach and a scout. For Skinner, who was born in La Jolla, California, pro baseball career began in 1951 in the Pittsburgh system, interrupted while drafted into the service of the Marines during the Korean War, spent 2 years in the San Diego recruiting depot and played for the base team before returning to the Pirates organization. And Bob Skinner was quite a player and quite a guy, passing away at the age of 94. And one of the great voices in baseball history passed away, John Sterling, who broadcast more than 3 decades of Yankees games and was famously celebrated for his booming baritone, sing-song inflections and signature home run calls, passed away. He was 87 years old. He died May 4th. Colorful personality who engaged and entertained fans with a distinct conversational style. Sterling called 5,426 regular season Yankees games and 225 more in the postseason from 1989 until his retirement in 2004. After initially stepping away from the microphone in April of that year, Sterling returned to call selected games in the late in the 24 season, including each contest in the World Series. John Sterling passing away at age 87. So that is a look at our sports obituaries. So, I mentioned we announced the Fayette County Sports Hall of Fame last week on the show. And in case you missed that, if I can find what I did with it. You know, I have misplaced. Here we go. We announced our 2026 class of inductees. 10 individuals, 2 teams will be enshrined at the Hall of Fame golf outing / luncheon social starting at 8:30 a.m. June 19th at Pleasant Valley Golf Club in Connellsville. Repeating once again, class top vote getter in the Hall of Fame membership voting, former Laurel Highlands 3-sport athlete, University of Tulsa football player Billy Beaner. Also selected, former longtime Uniontown High School coach and educator Rich Bierbauer, Albert Gallatin High School basketball standout Shantae Hall, who played at Penn State and Rutgers, Laurel Highlands football stalwart George Link, who played at Pitt, former Connellsville golfer and baseball player Jason Tiska, Uniontown and Michigan State football standout Brad McClee. Also tabbed for induction, former Geibel High School and St. Vincent basketball player Erica Hogan Gaster, Fairchance Georgia's athletic and IUP standout Jay Record, 2 deceased inductees, including former South Union football and basketball player and longtime Laurel Highlands coach and administrator Ron Fidella, Masontown and Fayette County baseball standout John Kolar, the 2 teams to be enshrined, the 2005 Connellsville WPIAL and PIAA champion wrestling team, and the 1984 84 through 87 Leckrone County League baseball champs. That is the lineup for this year's Hall of Fame. We're going to do the first of our Hall of Fame interviews, and joining me right now on the phone is 2026 inductee, Connellsville graduate in 1989, Jason Tiska. Jason, welcome to the show. Congratulations on your induction coming up into the Fayette County Sports Hall of Fame. And I was the one who gave you the news. How about recounting your reaction when you found out you were going to be part of this class?
Well, good morning, George, and thanks for having me on. I was definitely thrilled to find out. I had been on the ballot the last couple of years, and honestly didn't know whether I was ever going to make it in. I was fortunate enough to enjoy being inducted with my team, the 1989 Connellsville baseball team. So, it was a thrill, and I'm happy to be on the show to talk about it with you.
Well, since you brought up that baseball team, we would be remiss if we didn't mention something. I stopped by the funeral home last week. We lost a legend in county baseball circles, WPIO baseball circles, and just a legend in his own right in Connellsville with the passing last week of Tom Sankovich.
Yeah, Coach Sank was an incredible human being. He was a great coach, extremely knowledgeable. He was, tough, prepared you for success by having some of the most grueling and disciplined practices I think that have ever been created. I owe a lot of my success in not just baseball and golf to the discipline that he taught us. And he will be missed.
He will be missed for sure. And I think I'm safe in saying many people who did not know him might not know what I'm talking about, that those that did, he was a genuine character. There's no question.
Yeah, no doubt about that.
Yeah, he made me laugh so many times. We always had a lot of fun. And that 1989 team was a great team, but you served as a DH when you weren't pitching, compiled a .359 batting average, 5 home runs, 30 RBIs. But really, it was on the mound where you made a great contribution to that team. 10-0 record and a sparkling 2.13 ERA. It was quite a season for you, Jason.
Yeah, it was very exciting. The coach was very good at getting everybody involved, and I only won 5 games in the regular season. I think we went 19-1, and only 5 of those games I was the winning pitcher. And then because he really liked to make sure that everybody was prepared in case they were called upon. So we kind of spread the wealth out, and I think that's what made us a good team. We could rely on each other, and it wasn't just a couple people that dominated play. And then, I was fortunate enough to, win 5 games in the postseason and, did some things back then that would never have been allowed to do today. I pitched back-to-back days because there are a lot of rain.
They're very careful about what they do with pitchers today, aren't they?
Yeah, and rightfully so. I mean, I was so, I guess, invested that we'd won the semifinal game. We had a lot of rainouts, and then the championship game was the next day for Whippeals, and I had pitched a 2-hit shutout in the semis, and I didn't throw many pitches. I think I only gave up a couple hits, and our starter in the championship game was not faring too well, and I grabbed the backup catcher because I was DH, and I said, "Come on, let's go down and warm up." And I kind of did it on my own and came down and said, "Coach, I'm ready." And, he put me in. I didn't pitch all that well, but I ended up hitting the walk-off home run to win the game. I guess it was meant to be, but in today's day and age, I would not have been allowed to pitch.
What a great memory. And that was, I remember talking to some of the guys from that team. That was a very close-knit group, wasn't it?
Yeah, we really, I was almost a year behind all of them. I have an August birthday. And growing up, the majority of my senior class all played together in the Little League, and I was a year behind, so not until we got to ninth grade did I become, tied to them baseball-wise. And, yeah, we had a great group of guys, Mike Swink and Joey Bonadio and Buddy Lickletter and Bobby Schaefer. That was kind of our core group of seniors. And, we had a great time.
So let's move on to something that really caught everybody's eye on the ballot and is probably one of the big reasons why you're being inducted into the 2026 class of the Fayette County Sports Hall of Fame, your golfing career. And tell me, how did you pick up golf? Did you do it at an early age, and how did that all come about?
Well, it's pretty interesting, George. My father, who was a really good athlete when he was younger, but he was never a golfer. And my grandfather played golf, and he used to take me when I was 11, 12 years old, and I would play with him and his brother and actually my dentist. So there was a 12-year-old playing out there with three 60-plus-year-olds out at Norvelt, and it just came really naturally to me. And, then once you have success in anything and you start doing well, then obviously you become invested in it. And I played a lot with him growing up. I didn't really, start playing any real competitive golf until I was probably, other than high school golf, until I was about 16 or 17. Never really took a formal lesson from anyone. And it's probably why I didn't achieve my true potential in golf until right after college, because I was kind of behind in the development process. I had a lot of ability, but I needed refinement that I didn't necessarily get without professional eyes looking at me.
And that is a sport that you have to take some time and you have to practice, because if you don't go out and play, you're not gonna, you're not gonna get any. You have to give it some time, don't you?
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. The one thing that I'd like to impress upon that I hear from because I teach high school now, so I see high school kids all the time.
And you coached a little bit in high school too, didn't you?
Yeah. I coached Connellsville for a couple of years, and I currently work at Gateway, and I coach the girls and the boys teams there for about 10 years. The one thing that I think I benefited from that kids today don't is playing multiple sports. My summer schedule when I was in high school was get up and go to the golf course and be there from about 8 to 4 and come home, get changed, and go play an American Legion baseball game. And that was just what I did. And I never really noticed the fact that, I hear like, oh, well, your golf swing is going to screw up your baseball swing or vice versa. That's just not true. And I think that it's wonderful to play two different types of sports. One that's really team-oriented, that you're relied upon by your teammates and you rely on your teammates, and then a completely different sport where it's all individualized and it's very difficult mentally more than physically, and both of those things I think gave me an advantage in both sports because I played both sports.
We're talking with 2026 Fayette County Sports Hall of Fame inductee going in with the class that's being inducted on June 19th at Pleasant Valley Golf Club in Connellsville. I can't tell you, Jason, how refreshing it is to hear you say that, because when I was writing my memory lane column, I talked to a lot of the older athletes from the past in Fayette County, and they had the same feeling that you did, that playing multiple sports was not a detriment. It gets very specialized today. They felt deep to their core that it made them a more well-rounded athlete playing more than one sport.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. I also think that the younger generation and the injuries, specifically in baseball, where 14, 15-year-olds have arm problems. They're playing baseball year-round, and they're they're overusing those muscles, not developing the other muscles in their body that might prevent the injuries that they're having. I don't remember ever a kid my age having an arm injury. I mean, it was just because And it wasn't like we didn't try to throw as hard as we could. I mean, we weren't taking it easy. Nobody worried about how many curveballs you threw. It was just, a different era that, you played a little bit in the winter. Coach Sank would sneak us down into the armory in Connellsville and have off-site practices in the winter where we would just, do a little bit of hitting in the cages and maybe throwing off a mound. But then you'd play baseball in the spring and summer. And when fall came around, a lot of our teammates played football, and I played golf, and you just went on to the next sport. It was a great way to grow up. I'm appreciative of it. I would never have had the success I had if I had just played one sport. I'm convinced of that.
You touched on something that I hadn't really thought about, but you mentioned you played American Legion baseball. Connellsville, back in the day, what a great reputation and great teams they had in American Legion baseball.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I kind of missed my senior year. We had to cancel our season because we went so late in the summer with playing in the state championship game, and it was bad weather, and we were so far behind in the schedule that when it was time, we had to, so I missed having that one little victory lap with some of my teammates playing American Legion ball my senior year. But yeah, it was quite the juggernaut there for a while with the Sankovich boys and all those different characters that came before me in baseball.
Was that still, they may have been gone by that time, was that still Herman Welsh and Buzz Barnhart?
It was Herman. Herman coached my junior year. Whitey Stepanek stepped in, the father of an outstanding Connellsville wrestler, Jeff Stepanek, and Caden Stepanek, who played baseball. He stepped in to help out, and Herman was kind of the tail end of his career there, and it just kind of ended, which was pretty sad. It was a lot of fun playing those Legion games.
Let's get back to golf. Correct me if I'm wrong. Connellsville golf team. Would your coach have been Hal Whiteman?
Yeah, Hal Whiteman was my coach. He was a tremendous coach. He gave me the opportunity as a seventh grader to be like the team manager. So I had access to Pleasant Valley Golf Club, and I would go to the matches, and I would play with the extra players. So I got some experience playing with other golfers at the age of, I guess I would have been like 12 or 13. And then my eighth grade year, I was foolish enough to think I could play football. And I tried that out for 1 year, and then came back and played golf my 9th through 12th year. Al was a great human being, taught me a lot about golf, taught me a lot about patience, was really, really good at giving you the confidence to succeed. He was always looking at the positives. He was also a great influence on me in choosing to play golf in college instead of baseball.
What great mentorship you were blessed with Sankovich and Whiteman, two legends, really.
Yes.
Yeah. Let's talk about golf. You captured the silver medal, 1987 WPIAL Golf Championships. What do you remember about those championships?
Well, I remember that was at Churchill, and it was really the first big golf tournament I probably played in. I had just turned, 15, and I remember just being so thrilled that I had qualified to go to states. Back then, the top 10 from the WPIAL would automatically go into states, and I ended up in a playoff with one other player for second place, and it was just, I didn't even really know that it was really that important to win the playoff. I was so ecstatic. My dad had made a slight wager for me that if I had made it to states, he would get me a new set of golf clubs. And they were Ping Eye 2s, and it was no small feat for my dad to save up the money to get me those golf clubs. So I was real appreciative of that, and that's what I was so excited about. I think I chipped in on the third playoff hole and won second place. And then my next 2 years, I think I made it to states, but I didn't medal in those competitions.
And then you went on to play golf at Penn State, and you mentioned Coach Whiteman had a little bit to do with you choosing golf over baseball. Were you pursued to play baseball by some colleges?
I was. I was. There was Allegheny University up in Meadville. Norm Sundstrom was the athletic director at the time, and he was also the golf coach. And I was actually considering going there and trying to play both sports, and that would have been really difficult looking back on it.
My cousin played at Allegheny from
okay.
George Lasky.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
George and I were about the same age, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
George won with.
you decided to go to Penn State. Was it a good experience, and what was the golf team like?
It was a great experience. As soon as I went up there for a visit, I knew that's where I was going to go. I had a great time. I had a great. Danny Braun was my host. Danny Braun's still the head golf professional at Indiana Country Club in Indiana, PA, and Mary Kennedy Zerke was my coach there up until my senior year. And I started as my last tournament as a freshman fall semester. I cracked the starting lineup, and I stayed in the lineup the rest of my career. I wouldn't say I had an incredibly successful career there. I did win our home tournament one year. My senior year, I think I made all Big Ten, second team, but didn't really start achieving too much nationally or even statewide until after my senior year at Penn State, and that's when I had a really big summer.
So some of the highlights: you captured the 1993 WPGA Amateur Championship.
Yeah, that summer I actually won the Tri-State Amateur Championship, the State Amateur Championship, and the West Penn Amateur Championship, all in the same summer.
And 1998, Frank B. Fuhrer Jr. Invitational. You captured that.
Back then it was called the Pittsburgh Open.
Mm-hmm.
I remember very clearly winning that at Montour that same summer. I beat Bob Ford in the Tri-State Match Play Championship in the finals.
That's a great name. He was at Oakmont, right? Bob Ford.
Yes. Bob was a tremendous guy.
Right. And then 1999, finished 53rd as an amateur at the U.S. Open. And people were saying 53rd. I said, you got to understand, he was an amateur playing in the U.S. Open. Yeah.
I actually wasn't an amateur. That was a little misprint I turned professional in '93 after I graduated from Penn State. I turned professional, and with the help of a lot of connections and friends that I'd made at Pleasant Valley, who was, Pleasant Valley was really kind of integral to my success in golf. They offered a summer membership for anybody that was playing college golf. And I don't know who personally to thank for that. It was a collection of people that myself and Paul Knesny and Dan Knesny and several others took advantage of, that we had access to that golf course in the summer. And then when I had the big summer of '93, members got together and pulled some money together and helped launch my professional career. And I moved to Orlando in that winter and began competing on the mini tours for a number of years.
Wow. So what was it like? Where was the U.S. Open that year in '99?
That was the U.S. Open at Pinehurst #2. That's the one that Payne Stewart won and then tragically died later that summer.
Right, yeah. So a great memory there. This is something that caught me, and we're going to end with this. You are ranked number 74 on the list of top-ranked golfers of all time from the state of Pennsylvania, the only one from Fayette County. That's pretty special.
Yeah, I had no idea there was such a list until I saw that in my bio, and I thought, is that for real? Did someone make that up? And then I looked it up myself. I'm thrilled to be on that list. There's a lot of tremendous talent out of Pennsylvania all those years, and to be considered on that list is quite an honor.
Well, Jason, I really appreciate you giving me time this morning. Congratulations once again on being part of this class. And I think you probably have looked at some of the other names that are already in the Fayette County Hall of Fame. You're joining some pretty interesting company in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, it's a tremendous honor, George, and I look forward to seeing you there on the 19th in June.
Well, I take it because you mentioned when I called you that you were already planning on playing golf, right?
Yeah, I was planning on playing in the event, but now it has a little bit more meaning to me.
Well, I really appreciate it. Thank you again for the time this morning. Congratulations once again. And I look forward to seeing you as well on the 19th. You take care. Thanks for the time this morning, Jason.
You're welcome, George.
Take care. Bye-bye. Jason Tiska from Connellsville High School, part of the 2026 class of the Fayette County Sports Hall of Fame. We're going to get a break in, and when I come back, we're going to talk to Ronnie Fedella, the son of one of my favorite people, the late Ron Fedella, who was a coach and teacher at Laurel Highlands and a former athletic director and just helped develop so many athletes in the past. That's coming up after we take this time out here on the Sportsline.
Is it time for your first home or time to trade up to a home that fits your lifestyle? It's time to visit Clayton Homes of Bell Vernon. You'll find special savings along with trade-in and trade-up deals. Imagine beautiful, new, energy-efficient homes packed with the features you've been dreaming about. Trade in and trade up at Clayton Homes of Bell Vernon, 4500 PA 51. Trade-in value toward purchase of a new home determined by resale value and evaluation by home center manager. Additional deposit may be required.
You can go to Big Box Medical Office.
Now serving number 3,943.
Or
Hi, come on in. How are you?
for personal, professional health care you can trust, see Dr. Paul Hardley and nurse practitioners Tara Bozek, Jessica Reckhart, and Stacy Morris, proudly serving our community for over 30 years. Need care today? Walk-ins are always welcome. For your primary care, call Dr. Paul Hartley at 724-437-1109 or visit ppcp.org. Or
Serving number 3,944.
For 35 years, Fay Penn Economic Development Council has been committed to its mission of growing Fayette County's economy and helping to bring jobs to the area. Whether you're a startup, existing, or new business in Fayette County, Fay Penn's lending team can work with you to decide if the Fay Penn Loan Fund suits your business's needs. Fay Penn's Loan Fund offers loans starting at $10,000, pending qualifications. Visit faypenn.org to learn more about financing opportunities for your business and to complete a pre-application form.
It's gorgeous outside, which means it's time to get to Bittersweet Cafe of Farmington. From their incredible daily lunch specials featuring farm-to-table fresh ingredients to their refreshing drinks, frozen treats, smoothies, and iced tea, Bittersweet Cafe has something for everyone. Enjoy this beautiful spot nestled in the Laurel Highland Mountains, just a few miles outside of Ohiopyle on Farmington, Ohiopyle Road. Follow them on Facebook and Instagram.
Hi everyone, this is Kelly Clark with Autoland Hyundai in downtown Uniontown. 724-208-5281. What makes buying your next vehicle for me worthwhile? I make it a very easy 5-step process. You look, you shop, you ask, you decide. And I listen. Kelly Clark, Autoland Hyundai, 724-208-5281. 724-208-5281. Kelly Clark, Autoland Hyundai. I'll make you a good deal.
If you're an athlete, you know the importance of a strong recovery. NovaCare provides several athletic training programs geared toward athletic-related injuries and collaborates with Albert Gallatin, Uniontown, Fraser, California, Jefferson Morgan, Waynesburg, West Green, and Mapletown school districts to help student athletes stay at their best. From coordinating additional specialist care to treating on-site injuries, their experts cater to your personal needs. Specialized services include concussion diagnosis and rehabilitation and treatment for sports-specific injuries. For more information on athletic training at NovaCare, visit novacare.com or contact your local office today.
Hi, this is Bob Walk, and you're listening to the Sportsline with George Von Benko on your local station, WMBS Uniontown.
And welcome back to the Sportsline on this Saturday morning. Fayette County Sports Hall of Fame golf outing and luncheon is coming up on June 19th at Pleasant Valley Golf Club in Connellsville. Spots for the golf outing are going very, very quickly. You might want to give Katie Probst a call right away if you're interested in playing. Her number is 724-460-9231. Also, tickets for the luncheon are on sale, and we expect a big crowd. And one of the reasons we're going to have a big crowd is because the next gentleman is going into the Fayette County Sports Hall of Fame in the deceased category. One of my favorites, Ron Fidella, South Union basketball and baseball, was a longtime star player for the Blue Devils, and then went on to Salem. He's in their Hall of Fame. Was a longtime baseball coach at South Union and Laurel Highlands, and later was an able assistant during some of the great years of LH basketball under Horst Taylor, and later served as athletic director at Laurel Highlands, and dearly loved by many of the South Union and Laurel Highlands athletes. And joining me right now is his son, who I call a friend. I knew him very, very well when he was in high school and playing at Laurel Highlands, Ronnie Fidella. Ronnie's joining me right now. Great to catch up with you. Congratulations on the news that your dad is part of this 2026 class, Ron.
Thanks a lot, George. It is great news, and our whole family appreciates the Sports Hall of Fame for the recognition and those who have helped to make this possible. It's wonderful.
Well, it is truly wonderful, and I mentioned the athletes that your dad helped along the way. So many of them have reached out to me and are thrilled with this induction. That has to make you feel so good that these guys feel that way about your dad.
Without a doubt, it does. And the neat thing about how my dad went about his business, it wasn't just the superstar athletes who he reached out to, but he was always there for anyone who needed any type of help, athletically or personally, and it didn't matter what part of the bench you sat on.
Well, I can speak to that personally, Ronnie, because I wasn't a great athlete and I wasn't going to do anything along those lines, but he befriended me and was a dear friend and really helped me with advice throughout my high school career. And after I went into my chosen field of broadcasting, he was very proud of me going into broadcasting and was a great mentor for me and befriended me, and I can speak to that.
And without a doubt, he was proud of you. And he was always proud of the other individuals that he had the opportunity to work with and see them advance throughout their careers. And the one thing I know that even though he did stand up and benefit other people, he felt privileged to also be able to work with those people because you and others were a large part of his life as well.
Always so approachable. I really enjoyed being around him. And people may not realize, and one thing that's come out when we did some of the research, what a great athlete your dad was when he was younger.
He was, and it's interesting that I never knew a lot about it. He never talked a lot about it, at least as I can recall, and you know how memories fade over the years. But it's my understanding he was or is South Union Township's fourth-time all-leading scorer. He was a two-time West Virginia Intercollegiate Athletic Conference player and was recognized as one of their all-time players at a ceremony that occurred, I think it was back when I was high school. And so his athletic accomplishments are pretty incredible on their own. And it's interesting, a good story is that when he went to Salem, he went on a basketball and a baseball scholarship. and he was just playing around on the football field, punting footballs. And the football coach came up to him and said, look, you know, we need you as a punter on our football team, and if you don't join the football team, then I'm going to make sure your basketball and baseball scholarships are taken away.
Wow. So he was sort of drafted into being a punter, huh?
He was, and you know, it's funny. I can recall back in our backyard, our triangular yard in South Union Township, when he would punt, and he was kind of teaching me or playing with me on how to punt, and how he would show how to kick a spiral. And I think of that because of how outdated that punt is today in most cases. You know, the knuckleballs are in fashion right now. Back then it was always kick a spiral.
Right. Well, you mentioned he's the fourth all-time leading scorer of South Union basketball history. That's nothing to sneeze at when you realize that also on that list are Chucky Davis and Rich Novak.
Right. And I'm not aware as much other than what I had read previously on the inductees into the Sports Hall of Fame. But in reading through some of the articles, it's amazing how many great athletes there were, not just from Fayette County in general, but from that small township of South Union Township.
Mm-hmm. Well, they had a great history, and baseball was one of his big loves. He was a shortstop playing in the Fayette County League. He was named to the Fayette County Baseball All-Star Team. At Salem, we talked about his. He led the Tigers in scoring as a junior in basketball and as a senior. Two-time WVIAC All-Conference as a junior and a senior. You mentioned that he was honored. 74 was the year, selected as a member of the all-time WVIAC basketball team, and he was also inducted into the Salem College Hall of Fame in 2004.
Yeah, and it's interesting that Salem College at least has his name spelled right on the plaque that was given for that. But when he was inducted into the all-time WVIAC Basketball Hall of Fame, it was during their conference playoffs, and I remember attending that. And there was a plaque with his name that I understand is in the Basketball Hall of Fame, but his name is spelled wrong, as is not uncommon with a name like Fidela.
Right. So after college, he goes into education, and he actually started coaching as an assistant coach at German Township before he came back into South Union.
That's correct, and I'm not as familiar with that aspect of it.
Well, he would have been with one of a great name in Fayette County history. Hoots Savanik was the longtime baseball coach at German. So he was working with a legend there at German Township who had been there for many, many years. And German Township had a great reputation for producing baseball players as well.
Right, and he was fortunate in coaching to work with a lot of people who no doubt influenced him. From Marty Fagler, who was his original coach, to John Pringle, who he was assistant football coach to Harold Horst Taylor, who gave him the opportunity to be a part of the Laurel Highlands program. So there were a lot of good things that happened to him in his life, and a lot of good people who were there and helped to guide him.
Well, and I know he was very, very good friends with one of my favorites, who was a history teacher at South Laurel at the time. We were still separated. They hadn't built the new school yet. But he was very good friends with a guy named Ringy Stefanson, too.
And so much, thank you for mentioning that. And when you talk about things, you forget names, and I'm looking here at some notes where he actually also coached under Okie Ryan.
He did, who was the baseball coach, yes.
That is correct. And Ringy Stefanson, to this day, when I watch professional basketball especially, I think to myself, Ringy would be going nuts with respect to the pivot foot.
Yes. What great names. It brings back so many great names. Well, he returned to South Union in 1959, assistant football, basketball, and baseball coach. He was coaching everything.
He was, and he even coached cross country, I believe.
Okay.
And I could not give you the specifics for that, but I can recall that. It may have been just for a year. And he also ran some, he was one of the swim coaches at Forest Park Aquatics.
Right.
And also ran the basketball program they did there in the summers.
So he became the first baseball coach of the newly formed Laurel Highlands.
Correct.
In 1966. And then the partnership with Horse as his longtime assistant coach started in 1969. And later on, he served as an athletic director at Laurel Highlands. So, Ronnie, he gave great service to Laurel Highlands.
He did, and I know that he was always proud of what he did, and I also know that you learn lessons from your parents, but he never failed to give 100% of himself to whatever he was doing, and even if he was occupied with things, he was always accessible to anyone who might have needed him for a particular moment, regardless of his role.
Well, as I get ready to go to a break, because I got to get one more break in and then we're done for the hour, I do want to mention some of the names that have reached out to me once they found out he was being inducted. Guys that he helped greatly. First and foremost, Gus Gerard, who he worked tirelessly with to help him become a great player. Jack Beener, Barry Taylor, Rick Hogger, just to mention a few great names from LH's past.
And they are incredible luminaries, and our high school and Fayette County has such a strong tradition. And I thank you for the opportunity to speak with you, especially on behalf of my dad. And this is a very important and proud moment for our family. Thanks a lot.
Well, thank you, and look forward to, are you going to make it in for the luncheon and the golf outing?
Oh, absolutely. I'll be there at the golf outing and probably throwing my club or hitting divots farther than the ball goes.
Well, I look forward to seeing you because it's been a while since you and I have caught up with each other. But thank you once again for coming on this morning, and congratulations once again, Ronnie.
Thank you very much.
Take care. Ronnie Fedella talking about his late father, Ron Fedella. Let's get a break in real quick and finish up hour number one.
Wind, hail, sudden leaks. When your roof takes a beating, we're here for you at AR Roofing and Remodeling. We're a locally and veteran-owned contractor available 24/7 for repairs. As an Owens Corning Platinum Preferred Contractor, we get the job done right. Call 724-550-3064 or visit arremodels.com for your free estimate.
AR Roofing, never settle.
When your home runs on the internet, slow just isn't an option. Armstrong Fiber's gig speed internet is built for households that need every device firing at full speed, all at the same time. We didn't outsource this. Our people build it, engineer it, and install it throughout neighborhoods ourselves. Fast, dependable, and rooted right here with you. Proudly local, fiber-powered. Armstrong, keeping you connected. Visit armstrongfiber.com to get started today.
Why move? Grow into the home you love and transform your space with First Federal of Greene County. They offer home equity loans, home equity lines of credit, and FHA Title I home improvement loans, all to keep your roots planted where you want to be. Visit a loan officer today or lock in your rate before the market heats up and apply online anytime at ffgc.bank. First Federal Savings and Loan Association of Greene County, member FDIC, equal housing lender, NMLS number 458729.
This Mother's Day, forget the candy and flowers. Win Mom a trip to Napa Valley at Live Casino. Earn entries every day starting May 1st and join our drawings on May 10th. You could win mom-approved gifts like luxury perfumes, spa gift cards, wine subscriptions, and the grand prize, a trip to Napa Valley. Make this Mother's Day a winner at Live Casino, Route 30 at Westmoreland Mall. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Chris Parker Jr., it's almost Memorial Day, the unofficial beginning of the summer vacation season.
Travel safely and comfortably to the pool or on a long road trip in an all-wheel drive 26 Tucson or Santa Fe with third-row seating and 0% financing for 60 months, plus no payment for 90 days.
How about other vehicles?
Just announced, the North American Utility Vehicle of the Year is the 26 Palisade Hybrid, the first ever hybrid for the third-row Palisade. Plus, up to 35 miles per gallon highway. The 2026 Elantra Hybrid gets up to 58 miles per gallon highway, plus $2,000 retail bonus cash, or choose 2.99% financing for 60 months.
Don't forget Hyundai Owner Assurance, America's Best Warranty, 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain protection with every new Hyundai purchase, and 5-year unlimited miles roadside assistance. AutoLand Hyundai, 25 East Fayette Street, downtown Uniontown, or visit their website at AutolandHyundai.com.
And remember, you always pay less to drive the best at Autoland Hyundai.
Laurel Highlands Wealth Advisory Group of Janie Montgomery Scott in Uniontown is a proud sponsor of Sportsline. When you work with Janie, it's about going beyond investing. It's about connecting your life and your finances in a way that makes sense for you. The team partners with you through each stage of life to help you set and reach your financial goals. To learn more about the Laurel Highlands Wealth Advisory Group at Janie, be sure to check out their website at www.lhwag.com. Laurel Highlands Wealth Advisory Group of Janie Montgomery Scott, LLC, member FINRA, NYSE, SIPC.
Looking for a great place to eat in Uniontown? Stop by Casey's Sports Cafe, located at 243 South Mount Vernon Avenue and proudly owned by the Vernon family. Casey's is open Monday and Friday from 7 to 3, Tuesday through Thursday 7 to 7, and Saturday and Sunday 7 to 2. Come check out their new items and delicious entrees. And remember, Casey's can cater your next event. Whether it's breakfast, lunch, or dinner, Casey's is the place to eat. Call 724-550-4126.
WMBS.
Hi, this is Pat Narduzzi from the University of Pittsburgh, and you're listening to The Sports Line with George Von Benko on WMBS.
And that puts a capper on hour number 1 of the Sports Line. Stick around, another full hour to go. Sports Line brought to you this morning by Tom Vernon and Casey Sports Cafe, located right here on South Mount Vernon Avenue in Uniontown. Firestone Insurance Agency in Normalville, and by Bogies at Duck Hollow, located at 374 Duck Hollow Road in Uniontown. Another full hour coming up after the news with basketball guru Sonny Vaccaro. News is next from the CBS Radio Network on your local station, 590 AM, 101.1 FM, WMBS, Uniontown, Pennsylvania.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Peter King. Investigators are trying to learn why someone was walking on an active runway with jets landing and taking off last night in Denver. CBS's Adriana Diaz says that person was hit by a jet getting ready to fly.
It happened at Denver International Airport just after 11 p.m. local time. Airport officials say Frontier Flight 4345, bound for Los Angeles, hit a person on the runway while getting ready to take off. That was followed by an engine fire that was put out by firefighters. The plane had 231 people on board. It was evacuated after smoke filled the cabin.
There's no word on the condition of the runway pedestrian. The cruise ship hit by hantavirus is a day from docking in Spain. When it arrives, Americans will be evacuated and brought back to the U.S. CBS's Dr. Celine Gounder.
The CDC is deploying a team of epidemiologists and medical professionals to the Canary Islands. So they'll assess each American's level of exposure. How much were they exposed to somebody who had hantavirus? From there, they will fly on a government medical repatriation flight to Nebraska. They'll go to the National Quarantine Center in Nebraska at the University of Nebraska Medical Center.
150 people are on board. 3 people have died. Others have gotten sick and will be flown to their home countries. Both the U.S. and Iran say a ceasefire is holding, but there's no breakthrough on making it permanent. For Americans, high gas prices mean the war can't end fast enough. The San Antonio woman says the expenses changed her family's summer plan.
We're not going out of town in my car anytime soon. If we're going to do anything, we're going to be on a bus, a shuttle, a train, or a plane because the gas prices are so high.
AAA says the average national price is more than $4.50 a gallon, and farmers say they've been hit hard too.
The war has paralyzed the Strait of Hormuz and global supply chains, leaving American farmers frustrated.
Business is rough. Almost every farmer in Iowa will tell you that they've had difficult times.
The challenge comes obviously with the price.
The price of urea fertilizer used for vegetable crops has gone up 47% since the war began.
CBS's Aaron Navarro. In Tampa, 2 Pakistani college students who were murdered last month have been honored with degrees that they would have received at their graduation ceremonies. WTSP TV's Angelica Bruton is at the University of South Florida.
The Consulate General of Bangladesh accepted the posthumous degrees on behalf of Nahida and Jamil, honoring years of hard work. But for those who knew them, the moment was also a painful reminder of lives and futures cut tragically short.
Zamil Liman and Nahida Bristi were reported missing last month. Liman's former roommate is charged with killing them both. This is CBS News.
Join Adriana Diaz and Kelly O'Grady for the perfect start to your weekend. Ease into your Saturday with CBS Saturday Morning on CBS and streaming on Paramount Plus.
Route 21 Furniture, take the road to your perfect home.
Sleep well tonight. Try out a new mattress from Route 21 Furniture with a large selection of mattresses, all sizes and comfort levels, with great prices, free local delivery and setup, and financing options. Route 21 Furniture. Open weekdays 9 to 5, Saturday 10 to 5, Sunday noon to 4. 724-737-2222 or Route21Furniture.com.
Route 21 Furniture, take the road to your perfect home.
Uniontown Liquidation Outlet wants to thank you for borrowing our special pay at 2025. Come shop with us for the lowest prices around. We have toys, home goods, tools, electronics, and much more. We offer layaway, so stop in today and ask us how it works. We are located inside the Uniontown Mall.
The Uniontown Liquidation Outlet. Visit us on Facebook, Uniontown Liquidation Outlet.
Hope to see you soon.
This trend gives new meaning to celebrations of life.
Ever go to a memorial service and think about how much the dearly departed would have appreciated the kind words and memories? A growing number of people, aware the end is near, are choosing to take it all in while they're still around. They're opting for living funerals, sometimes called funerals or living wakes, to celebrate life, share those memories with the friends who helped make them, and say goodbye. One death doula tells the Washington Post it's part of a death-positive movement that encourages open conversations about mortality and advises people to live life for as long as they have it. Deborah Rodriguez, CBS News.
Their longtime slogan is, it's better in the Bahamas, but not if you want to drink alcohol there on Tuesday. It's Election Day. The government has banned sales of what it calls intoxicating liquor for the day. Royal Caribbean says its cruise ship passengers can drink on board. I'm Peter King, CBS News.
Are you looking to list or sell your house? Now is the time to let the professionals at Caldwell Banker Laurel Ridge Realty help you with all of your real estate needs. Caldwell Banker Laurel Ridge Realty has 2 convenient locations to better serve you. In Uniontown area, 724-437-7100, or in Connellsville area, 724-628-7200, and speak with one of our real estate professionals. Visit our website, caldwellbanker.com. We have been proudly serving Western Pennsylvania area for over 30 years and look forward to helping you with all of your real estate needs. Broker Paul Borge Jr.
Now is the perfect time to upgrade your outdoor area with a new fence from All Around Fence Company, conveniently located at 7896 National Pike, Uniontown. All Around Fence has been installing quality residential, commercial, and farm fencing for more than 45 years, offering residential fencing including chain link, decorative aluminum, steel, and more. All Around Fence has the fence for you. All Around Fence is also your one-stop shop for Nutrena products and also carries livestock, equine, and pet supplies. So if you need to upgrade an existing fence, add a new gate, or are considering the installation of an all-new fence, All Around Fence has the answers you need. Visit them Monday through Friday from 8:30 to 5 p.m. and Saturdays from 9 to 1. Or give them a call at 724-439-0331. To learn more, visit allaroundfence.com.
For economy, price, and quality service, call Economy Furnace.
Spring quickly turns into summer heat, so May is the perfect time to schedule that essential clean and tune-up from Economy Furnace Heating and Air before the heat arrives in full force. An Economy Furnace clean and tune-up helps to extend the lifespan of your AC and will help prevent an unexpected breakdown during the summer heat. May is also the perfect time to take advantage of that tax refund or our low-interest financing options and upgrade to high-efficiency equipment. Benefits include lower energy bills, consistent cooling performance, longer lifespan, quieter operation, better humidity control, increased home value, and improved comfort. Economy Furnace Heating and Air proudly partners with Amana, offering American-made quality HVAC systems that are built to last. Economy Heating and Air will meet all of your HVAC needs with prompt and friendly customer service and competitive rates. Call 724-438-4575.
For economy, price, and quality service, call Economy Furnace.
Do you need a fast, friendly notary service that is open in the evening? Sandy Howell Notary Services is here for you, offering new PA and West Virginia plates and ready to assist with your vehicle, boat, motorcycle, and ATV registrations and transfers, plate renewals, and more. Serving Fayette County and all surrounding areas, open weekdays from 10 to 8:30 and Saturdays from 9 to 5. Sandy Howell Notary Services, Dry Knob Road, Smithfield. Call 724-564-8955. Big enough to serve you, small enough to know you by name.
Warm weather means you'll be spending more time outside. So enjoy your deck or patio with retractable or fixed awnings from Lifetime Awnings. Made in the USA with manufacturer and customers' guarantees, Lifetime Awnings products last. Lifetime Awnings is veteran-owned and operated with a 10% discount to all military veterans and their families. Call Lifetime Awnings 724-554-6067 or email John, the owner, at lifetimeawningsusa@gmail.com.
Your local station, WMBS.
Welcome back on board for hour number 2 of the Sportsline, being brought to you this morning by my good buddy Tom Vernon and KC Sports Cafe, located right here on South Mount Vernon Avenue in Uniontown, the Firestone Insurance Agency in Normalville, and by Bogies at Duck Hollow, now under new management, serving lunches and dinners Monday through Saturday from 12 to 9, Sunday from 12 to 5. Phone 724-439-2150. George Von Benko with you as we forge ahead into our second hour. And this hour is reserved for some great basketball talk and sports talk in general. I'm going to be joined by my longtime friend, Sonny Vaccaro, the basketball guru, is on the line from out west. And let me welcome Sonny into our conversation. Sonny Vaccaro, good morning to you, my friend. How are you doing?
I'm doing really good, being able to talk to you and the people that listen to your show, because unbeknownst to what I'm going to have to say today, my family and my wife's family in particular has a great connection to the Uniontown, the whole Fayette County area. And I think I'd like to talk to that for a minute or two and show how appreciative I am, because that area of the country, that where we were with the Uniontowns and the Lower Highlands, all those years in the Dapper Dan Roundball Classic helped jumpstart the Sonny Vaccaro life that he never knew. So, George, I appreciate it, and I hope the people listening to it, some of the old timers, some of the new timers. I just like to talk about, a lot of things that are important to today, but also, I can't thank you enough. I can't thank the kids. And why don't you just open up with a question and let me go?
Okay, well, before we open up with that question, I do want to mention your book came out, Legends and Souls, memoir of an American original, co-authored with a great writer, Armin Katayan. The book has done very, very well, and I understand that you just released it in softcover just recently, right, Sonny?
Yes, in fact, I think Friday was the first day, it's released, and we're very proud of that, Pam and I, and I appreciate you bringing it up. I can say this to the people who may not know, is a story basically of my life and my journey through life and how I got from that kid in Trafford, Pennsylvania in the 1960s. I was born in 39. I was born right when the war was starting. I am 86 going on 87, George. But my journey and what I've been able to do in my lifetime, that God has given me so far, is all in that book. And I'd like to tell your audience that everything in that book is true. And I want to say this for one reason, because some people have a different interpretation. They're not on your side, you didn't go to their place, whatever heck it was. But why I wanted, and I thank you for asking this, George, and I hope your audience listens to this. If there'd be something wrong, I lied or I exaggerated to the extreme in that book, and the world knows that my conversation in that book, through the book to the public, is something that some of them don't know the whole story of, and some people are trying to rewrite history. This book tells you the truth, and I appreciate you mentioning it. And if, some of you guys out there listening, Legends and Souls is Sonny Vaccaro's life story. And when we talk about Uniontown, when we talk about what we're going to talk about the rest of the hour, George, it couldn't have happened. I want to say this, then we can go on. How about my mother, Pam's mother and dad they were born in the Uniontown area. Her mother went to Uniontown High School. Her dad went to Germantown Township. The kids, grew up there. Some of them were born there. What I'm saying to you, the ties of the families are so unique as I go forward in my life. But I just wanted to tell you, and Pam wanted me to tell you for her mother, she worked at the Continental 1 and Continental 2 when she was growing up. When she was good.
I'm very familiar with that. You mentioned the Round Ball Classic, and of course, we can't talk about Sonny Vaccaro without mentioning the Round Ball Classic and what an effect it had not only on your life, but on a lot of different people, including yours truly. I was just a young kid when I first met Sonny Vaccaro, and you were kind enough to talk to me back then, and our friendship continued all these years. But I sent you a list the other day because you and I were talking about Uniontown and Fayette County. You can't talk about the Round Ball Classic without mentioning the effect that Uniontown and Fayette County had on the Round Ball Classic.
Well, that's a great way to start it, and I couldn't have. Now, as you and I both know, the whole thing was the Western Pennsylvania, the Pennsylvania team. My idea was so 1,000,000 to 1 that it would even work. So when I had the idea with Pat DeCesar to start the Dapper Dan Round Ball Classic, I obviously had to know where to go. Now, this is 1964, 65, George. I had nothing to do with basketball. I had an idea for this, so we'll stop that. But I can say I had the common sense. When I started, I was 24 years old. I never played basketball. I in high school, Trafford High School. I mean, I did, but I didn't play. And I was football and baseball. So whatever, George, when I started, I go back to the Don Yates. I go back to all the guys, Abe Everhart, Horst Taylor, Lash Nesser. I can start in Abe Everhart, I say first, because I would start off I'd go to Midland, I'd go to Farrell, and I'd go to Uniontown. And I don't know if your public even knows the other two, areas I'm talking about, but those schools, they had some of the greatest basketball players that never knew as they go on their career. But Uniontown, Laurel Highland, and that started me, and it gave me this sense of, I can do this. I can do this. I can do this with the help of the people and the coaches, like I mentioned, and the players and their parents that trusted me to start this game. So my beginning in my professional world started with the Round Ball Classic. If I don't start that game in '64, I pray to God that I'd be healthy and I would be able to live a good life. But my point to you, George, it never would have happened. The Dapper Dan started and gave Sonny Vaccaro the impetus and the wheel, but also the format to everything else in my life. I hope I said that correctly for you.
Well, you did, and you mentioned three people that were very dear to me when I was growing up. I was blessed to have known all three of them.
Okay.
And I used to see at the Summer League playgrounds, when the Summer Leagues were big in Uniontown, you used to get 800-900 people watching a Summer League game at the playgrounds, and you'd look over in the corner, and sitting there watching the game were Abe Everhart, Horst Taylor, and Lash Nesser, all three of them sitting together.
Oh, my God.
What a conglomeration of coaching talent and all the wins between those three coaches.
Well, this is, again, historic, because if you go over the countries we know it, basically no one ever thought of Western Pennsylvania specifically, okay? Specifically, stay in West Pennsylvania, because Philadelphia had some connection because all their colleges up there, the LaSalle's and all those guys, were college players too, right? But Pitt never had the college background. Duquesne University at that time was pretty good. Pitt was like a misnomer in the small schools. What I'm saying that you just said, it was a miracle that those three coaches, I can remember going to the WPO playoffs at Pitt Fieldhouse with Abe and those guys. But when I saw Uniontown in the playoffs, and I always remember the Yates family. I get their names mixed up because it seems like a million. There was only a few.
Don and Pat are the two mainstays. Don and
Okay.
Pat Yates, yeah. Don went to Minnesota and played with Archie Clark and Lou Hudson. They broke the color line at Minnesota. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's just go back to those years, okay? If for whatever reason we went to the field house to watch the games and all that, this town, Uniontown, like was having they had somebody in the game like those early years every year. I can just start at some schools and have half the roster for the Pennsylvania team. That's what I'm telling you. And going later with Donnie and I remember Ron Sepik's name, Stu Lands. I remember their names. But go to Will Robinson, Jim Hobgood, Gus Gerard. I mean, and others. I'm only just keeping notes from my mind here. I'm just telling you, I started with Uniontown. I mean, I started with that kind of a thing. All I want when hopefully we finish our thing here and the people I'm talking to here, that you've given me a chance, people like you, the radio shows, the local people gave Sonny Vaccaro an opportunity to have a journey that there was no God's way of explaining all these years later. But if I don't have Dapper Dan, if it doesn't work the way it did, I don't know if your public will know this, some of them won't. Do you know that we were 13 years ahead of the McDonald's game?
Yes.
The Dapper Dan was the only national game. People forget that. I mean, seriously, 13 years. We played the world.
Well, and it was an event, Sonny. I mean, you drew great crowds. The introductions that you guys used to do were legendary. It was a fun, and the thing I remember about it, you could walk around the arena and you'd see every big name college basketball coach in the country. They came to the game.
They came, they stayed 3 or 4 days to go through it. It was a first because, again, in the 60s, people listened to the George's program here. In the 60s, you went local. Like George said earlier, like he went and he sat down in the playground up here in Uniontown, and all the guys, the high school guys and coaches will come in there, but local. But the Dan opened everybody. They flew in from Jerry, Tarkanian from Las Vegas to, whoever it was, Jim Valvano from, New York. I mean, but in the original years, That was unheard of that coaches would come, but we did. And George, just so you know, 10,336 people showed up at the first game in the sold out Pacific Arena, which had just opened. 10,000. I'll never forget that number. And then George, as we went on to the 70s and and continued. Remember the year we had 17,000?
I do.
17,000. I mean, this was the Civic Arena, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. It was all because of Def Jam. George, I can talk we can go to another subject quickly, but I'm not here talking to you, obviously. But I don't know who I would have been talking to if the Dapper Dan wouldn't have existed.
Well,
I mean that.
Just so many memories. And, the concept, people still look at me who did not know the game that are younger, and they said, how could he think that Pennsylvania could play against the rest of the U.S.? But it wasn't far-fetched. People don't realize how good high school basketball was.
Yeah.
Pennsylvania, they laugh at me. We held our own against the best.
Yeah, we won games too.
Yes.
I mean, we had great players. We had Hall of Fame players from George and Coach. Let me say this since you brought that up. I think you know what we had in Pennsylvania until today. I don't know what's happening in today's world, but George, we had people who grew up like Abe and Horace and Lash and that, and they didn't have a chance to go to college. I'll bet you, especially the Pittsburgh area, guys like Tim Gergerich and other guys. I can just go Tim and John Calipari and some that they know right now. I bet we had the biggest selection of high school and college coaches that went on to greatness by coaching. We had, Hank Kuzma. I mean, all these guys. I think that is the missing category because if you go back to Abe was, if I remember correctly, George, they were pressing and running all over the damn court.
They picked you up coming off the bus and never stopped pressing you.
So that's what I'm saying. I mean, so I'm all through here, and my mind takes me different places. But what we don't understand, what I would like to say here, some of the greatest coaches in America grew up in that tri-state area, buddy, and just go look at it.
Well, one of the things I did want to mention is your special bond. Even after all these years, the Round Ball Classic left Pittsburgh and moved around a little bit, and then it went away. But those players that played in the Classic, and you just had a conversation recently with one of my best friends, you have remained in contact with those kids who are not kids anymore all these years later, Sonny.
Well, let me do this, and I get emotional, so you'll probably just understand. That group, the Will Robinsons and the Ronnie, all those kids, Gus and all the guys, they're the reason I'm here. So I did stay in touch, and I have stayed in touch, and every once in a while, you reach out and you see a name. I like to go back to them, and I look at all the guys. It's just I can't tell you. And I want to say this because I want to get emotional on you. The best part of my life was watching these people, grow up and be successful, and just vicariously staying in touch. The hardest part of my life, George, is we've lost a lot of friends. We've seen a lot of people, have to go through a lot of hard things to still be here, but their minds. So I appreciate that, and I wish I had the names, all the kids and whatever. But there were one, and sometimes hard to do it. But a lot of friends we have gone through a hard time, but they're still fighting the good fight. They're still doing good, and that makes me feel better than it. That keeps giving me the will to live, George. I don't want to these people. Maybe your audience say, "Well, Sonny's explained." No, they meant something to me in the 1960s and 70s, and they still mean something to me 2026 or whatever year we're in.
We're talking with Sonny Vaccaro about a life well lived, and he's still going strong. And one of the things I want to mention that I loved about the Round Ball Classic, and it'll bring a smile to your face, you had a collection of characters that helped you with the game, and I remember some of the Gipko and the guy that worked for the Post Gazette that used to be there all the time.
Oh yeah! Oh my God! Yes.
And his name just left me right now. And of course we just lost one of the best, Dave Pober, the Chopper.
Oh yeah. Well, the Chopper, Dave Pober, was one of the silent men in the Pittsburgh area that was not only a wonderful human being, but he was probably one of the best people you could have as a friend, but a lover of basketball. Pobes was very, very close, and we're still, I will never forget the Pobes. But he was like a Pittsburgher. Everything was about to him Pittsburgh, and basketball was his, was his forte. And that's what I meant when, and you brought it up. It's guys like him and that made me available to the rest of the world as the years went on. They were the guys that made it work. They came to the workouts. They picked up players at the airport. Everyone thinks it's the way it is today. We had just guys like somebody would go get the players getting off the airplane, do all that. Go to the practice over the local gyms. I mean, everybody opened up their door. But if I had to pick a big five of the origins of, the outside people that made the Dapper Dan work, Pogues right there. Pogues is right there.
Yeah, we just lost him not too long ago. We're talking with Sonny Vaccaro. We've got him on for the rest of this hour. As you know, with radio, sometimes you have to pay the light bill. Can you hang on, Sonny? I gotta play a commercial break, and we will be right back. So just hang on. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back with more with Sonny Vaccaro right after this timeout.
You can go to Big Box Medical Office.
Now serving number 3,943.
Or
Hi, come on in. How are you?
for personal, professional health care you can trust, see Dr. Paul Hardley and nurse practitioners Tara Bozak, Jessica Reckhart, and Stacy Morris, proudly serving our community for over 30 years. Need care today? Walk-ins are always welcome. For your primary care, call Dr. Paul Hartley at 724-437-1109 or visit ppcp.org.
Or serving number 3,940.
Laurel Highlands Wealth Advisory Group of Janie Montgomery Scott in Uniontown is a proud sponsor of Sportsline. When you work with Janie, it's about going beyond investing. It's about connecting your life and your finances in a way that makes sense for you. The team partners with you through each stage of life to help you set and reach your financial goals. To learn more about the Laurel Highlands Wealth Advisory Group at Janie, be sure to check out their website at www.lhwag.com. Laurel Highlands Wealth Advisory Group of Janie Montgomery Scott, LLC, member FINRA, NYSE, SIPC.
Chris Parker Jr., it's almost Memorial Day, the unofficial beginning of the summer vacation season.
Travel safely and comfortably to the pool or on a long road trip in an all-wheel drive 26 Tucson or Santa Fe with third-row seating and 0% financing for 60 months, plus no payment for 90 days.
How about other vehicles?
Just announced, the North American Utility Vehicle of the Year is the 26 Palisade Hybrid, the first ever hybrid for the third-row Palisade, plus up to 35 miles per gallon highway. The 2026 Elantra Hybrid gets up to 58 miles per gallon highway, plus $2,000 retail bonus cash, or choose 2.99% financing for 60 months.
Don't forget Hyundai Owner Assurance, America's Best Warranty, 10-year 100,000-mile powertrain protection with every new Hyundai purchase, and 5-year unlimited miles roadside assistance. Autoland Hyundai, 25 East Fayette Street, downtown Uniontown, or visit their website at AutolandHyundai.com.
And remember, you always pay less to drive the best at Autoland Hyundai.
NovaCare Rehabilitation in Uniontown is accessible for all of your recovery needs. New at NovaCare is pelvic floor physical therapy, a specialized program to treat patients with pelvic floor dysfunction related to bladder, bowel, sexual function, and pregnancy postpartum. These issues can affect both women and men and include urinary frequency, urgency and incontinence, pelvic pain, constipation, IBS, menopause, painful periods, and more. Call 724-437-0556 for an appointment in Uniontown. Personalize your care with NovaCare. In 1986, the Firestone Insurance Agency in Normalville was started with a promise to provide clients with truthful, friendly, and courteous service. It worked. With an expanded client base, the Firestone Insurance Agency's customers are now able to choose from over 20 well-known insurance companies. So whether it be auto, home, business, or life, Firestone has you covered, and the promise to provide truthful, friendly, and courteous service is still in place. As an independent insurance agency, the Firestone Insurance Agency works for you. They do the shopping for you to save you time and a bunch of needless phone calls. Because let's face it, no one loves to shop for insurance. Call the office at 724-455-3900 or visit firestoneinsurance.net. Can't make it to Normalville? Let the Firestone Insurance Agency bring service right to your kitchen table. The Firestone Insurance Agency, 724-455-3900 or firestoneinsurance.net. Doing what is right for the customer, finding the most affordable rates while making sure there are no coverage gaps so you are fully protected from the unforeseen.
Are delinquent credit cards, medical bills, and personal loans stressing you out? Are you unable to catch up? Are the debt collection calls just too much? If yes, then call Zebley Law at 724-439-9200. Zebley Law provides free in-person consultations. Then, using our decades of experience, we recommend a plan for relief. Before hiring a debt relief company or an out-of-town bankruptcy firm, call the local law firm serving Fayette, Washington, and Greene counties since 2001. Call Zebley Law at 724-439-9200.
Hi, this is TJ Watt, and you're listening to the Sportsline with George Von Benko on WMBS Radio.
And welcome back to the Sports Line. We continue our conversation with basketball guru Sonny Vaccaro. And Sonny, we talked about the early days, the round ball.
George?
Yeah.
George, can I say something? I'm going to forget.
Yes.
It's the early days. No, I apologize. Okay. I also want to thank, because of the media, two people that I forgot to. Marino Paracenzo. He was the head writer, in the 60s for sports. Basketball was the last thing. Marino Paracenzo is the one that opened the door for Pat and I to meet, Al Abrams to get the game going. Marino believed in me without knowing anything about basketball. He turned out to be a great, great friend as we went through the years, and I wanted to acknowledge that he was there. And also, in your era, Phil Axelrod.
Oh, yes.
Phil used to write the columns, and this was like, ladies and gentlemen, the younger ones listening to this, that was big when the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette wrote an article, and they used to give us, you remember that would have the name, the picture of the kid.
Everything.
They had every day, and people would call, who's the next guy? So Marino Paracenzo and Phil Axelrod, I apologize for interrupting you.
That's okay. I'm glad you brought them up because both of them were great friends of mine.
That's good. I assumed that because George, you're great friends with anybody you meet. You give them the opportunity, and that's I wanted to say that so you can't respond.
Okay.
I think that.
So anyway, moving on, the round ball led to other things, and you got into selling shoes and doing so, and you became involved with Nike, which led to a whole other part of Sonny's life. And of course, they just did a movie about it in 2023. Air. You came up with Michael Jordan and Air Jordan, and it launched a phenomenon, the likes of which has probably never been seen before.
I don't think, only because everything's progressed, George, and Michael opened the door for marketing in the whole world, and that's the reason these kids, rightfully so, are getting endorsements that are off the wall with companies. But George, again, that journey that I took, there's no logical explanation for me being invited to the day when Nike, this is in the 80s now, 84, somewhere in right in there, Nike was I was working for them, signing up college teams and high school teams and putting them in the shoes. I never got involved with the pros or their endorsement people until that. I went to a meeting that Phil Knight and the rest of Nike power brokers invited me to. I didn't know 99% of the people in the room that day that Nike, Rob Strausser actually was doing it, and he said he put all this list of people up, and I don't want to go through, but the year that Michael will come out pro was a great year. There are a lot of great players on it, and they wanted to sign a name, a big name, and put some money in marketing. I was invited to the thing. I want to get through it a little quicker. There was all the other 5 other people. Never, they said, not Jordan. We're not getting Jordan. He's going to go to this guy. He's going to go to this. He's going to do all these other things. They asked me a question, George, and as God is my judge, to your audience, like that book says in there, I never knew. Michael never played in the Dapper Dan. His school, North Carolina, never wore the shoes. They broke my heart the day they beat Georgetown in the Final Four, because Georgetown and John Thompson were one of the teams and friends that I had, and 3 or 4 of the players on Georgetown played in the Dapper and all that sort of stuff. Never thought about Michael Jordan until he asked the question. Didn't know I was going to this kind of meeting. It was my turn, and I was the last guy there, and Strausser asked me, what would I do? They were going to sign 3 players, give me each about $75,000 to $100,000, spread the money, and it was like ridiculous. Players were good and all that, so, Barkley, it was a great class. And I said, by God giving me words, give it to the kid. I didn't even say Jordan. What kid? The kid from North Carolina, Michael Jordan. Everybody laughed. It was a hard rest of the thing, and if you watch the movie, everything in that movie, that's what happened. The other people sort of ridiculed me and all that sort of thing. Matt Damon gave me a great opportunity. He made me better than what I was, but that's basically what had happened, how it happened. That's what the book says. And eventually I changed Phil Knight's name after meeting Billy Packer when the Olympics were over in '84. Billy Packer came to meet Phil Knight personally, because Nike had a major party after the Olympics in '84. He had never met Phil Knight, never saw him again the rest of his life. Phil Knight wanted one more person. He said, can you get Billy Packer to come to meet us for lunch, and I want to talk to him about Jordan. Billy Packer, and again in the book, comes there. He was a busy man. He's doing the Olympics, and it's a big celebration. Okay, all that. Comes over and spends about an hour with us. And when he left, what he said after his hour, Sonny's right. Jordan's the person, and he'll live forever. Those kind of words. So to tell your audience right now listening, and I'm going fast talking, I hope they listen to this one thing. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to tell you, this is not arrogance. This is not, me being blah, 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 blah. If Phil Knight, if Billy Packer, or Sonny Vaccaro does not stick with their name, Phil Knight didn't stick until that last night. Billy was the last savior. That's how close it was. I want to tell you, Michael Jordan would have been one of the greatest players in the world. He'll still be maybe the this or that. But I do know one thing, people listening. There never would have been a shoe. There never would have been a swoosh. There never would have been an Air Jordan. I want you to listen to what I just said, young man. I want this public to know. Because why? The movie, the book, everything. He was going to Adidas. And if you go through the movie again, that's all he wanted. It was I don't know how to explain it. Again, it was one of those gifts from God that we were able to do it, and I was able to be involved. But I don't know if I'm here. Because basically, then Jordan comes, and I was his right-hand man until they fired me. So I'm saying to you, there never would have been a swoosh, and never would have been an Air Jordan if that day wouldn't have happened. This is a first for the people in Pittsburgh.
That's a great story, and of course, I love the part about Billy Packer. It's hard to believe. I was so blessed, and you had a lot to do with it because people knew that I knew you. But Billy Packer and Al McGuire used to be regular guests on my show in Pittsburgh. Can you believe that or not? I believe it because they were that kind of people. McGuire, that's right. It wasn't little or big. They loved basketball. They loved people that knew. Boy, that's interesting. But that's who they were. That's a clap to both of them. You're right. Huggins used to tease me when I was doing the Cincinnati games. When McGuire come in to do a game, he said, "You going out to dinner with Al?" And I said, "Yeah." And Huggins would look at me. He says, "I know you're paying."
That was the best way to go, George.
Anyway, we go through the Nike era. We knew how it ended with you leaving there. And later on, it brings us into what happened after that when you got involved with Ed O'Bannon and the people and advocating for the kids and what happened with the lawsuit, the court suit. And you have told me on several occasions you're looking at what's going on in college athletics today, name, image, likeness, the transfer portal, all of the things that are going on. Some of the people don't like it and things like that. But you said to me on many occasions things would have been much different if not for the arrogance of the NCAA. They could have gotten out in front of this and maybe controlled it a little better.
George, not only controlled it, if you give me a minute, for just what Eddie O'Bannon did, was have the strength to be the plaintiff. I had to look for plaintiffs because that was my idea. I found lawyers that I didn't know anything about, but I was led to by them, and guys like Mike Hostrold and Ken Feinberg, who later represented this case. We went through the whole thing. It took us, George, it took 6 years to finish that. I mean, everyone thinks that they just went to court. Well, they didn't just go. You go through all these legal things, right? You got to go this and 6 years later, we finally get the result, and O'Bannon wins. O'Bannon opens the doors to everything that's happening today. So to get to your point, to get to where we are today, as God is my judge, not too far from where I'm sitting in our home, is Pam puts away all my papers and all the things there. Listen to this, audience. Ken Feinberg, the lawyer that was putting together the money deal, wrote a letter. I was with him. We had a committee of 6 other people, women, black, white, men, 6 other than me and Ken, that were putting together a plan if we were able to get the money to represent the players financially, and we had already lined that up. So now Feinberg's ready. So he turns to me one day and says, "Sonny, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to send a letter to the 5 conference commissioners, and the president, the leader of Notre Dame, the president of Notre Dame. They were the one singular because it was Notre Dame, obviously. And I'm going to say in his letter, and I have the letter, and I have the response, unfortunately. And he said, why don't we get together and figure this thing out? We did not have a result yet, George. That's when now the court's done, and all your public knows, it takes time. They don't just go in and go to a meeting and come out 5 minutes later. It took a while to get the result. So Ken Feinberg, gets that to them in 5 seconds, email, whatever the heck it was, and they all have it, the 6 of them, in a matter of, a day, whatever, the next day, whatever it was, real quick though. We get a thing back from the president of the 5 commissioners, and he said, we see no reason in having this meeting. We see no reason for having this meeting. Audience, Sonny Vaccaro again telling you, that's what they said. If they would have met with Ken Feinberg and the committee, if they would have just asked what it was, what were we asking? Was it this ridiculous? Ken was doing all we were asking, and I know what it was at that time, was a piece of whatever it was that these guys, the schools were getting on the marketing, the Nikes, the Pepsis of all that. That's where Ken's mind was. All the people that sponsored the football, the basketball, whoever they were, So he had, the kids were going to share. And the football team would share the pair wearing the shoe. The basketball team, the whatever, hockey, whatever the heck it was, George. It was all done. One day later, we see no reason. Now, those people, the NCAA, until we finally, all the other things, the House case and everything that's happening today, and today we're talking, and a majority of your people listening, I know is going to understand what I'm saying. And they're all bitching and moaning about, well, this kid did this. They're did that. Why don't we just do this? Well, what I want to say is, I'm so happy that this is what's happening. I don't like how it's being interpreted. I wish to hell they'd be able to do it. Make sure the kids and the athletes and the girls are all compensated, and the lesser sports, George, that would be great. But I want to say to your public today, the NCAA, those SOBs, okay, for 100 years lied about the word amateurism. There was no goddamn word about amateurism. There was nothing that said that you're an amateur. That was BS from the English people who really just, separated the people 100 years before the golf and all that BS, George. There wasn't. They created their own word, amateurism, and they lied. And George, okay, now we won. But you know who suffered, George? All those kids before the NI, before O'Bannon, that went to school and were injured. A lot of them, George, and I'm not picking on anybody specifically, didn't even get an education. You got hurt, you were gone. Some people got hurt for life, and I know, and you know, and some of the old timers will know what I'm talking about. Those athletes were lied to, and their lives were ruined because the NCAA, until this minute, they can't figure it out. So the public that's listening to me today, don't forget whatever, Dapper Dan, all that stuff. And forget me personally. All I want you to know is that all those names we talked to in Uniontown and Laurel Highlands and all the kids and all the players all over the country, they had other opportunities to do things. And one of the saddest ones, even if you didn't get hurt, George, I know for a fact, and you know some of the players that it went through in the 90s, and they didn't even get an education that was worthy of going to get a job with. Where they didn't. When their season was over and they didn't play anymore, whatever it was. But today, audience, do you know what's happening? Coaches are making billions of dollars, zillions of dollars, and all these things, whatever that word is. And they still don't understand what the hell is happening. All we have now are guys, well, if we give them 10 this, if we do that, if we get insurance, all that stuff. I've talked to a few of my coaching friends. I don't know a lot of them anymore, George. I'm not around. But there can't even be a discussion anymore. There can't even. And it's the best thing that happened to American sports for the young, that college year. You know what I'm talking about, what's called, the college thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Look what football's doing now. They're going to break off. They're going to have.
Well, the power conferences are going to leave. There's no question.
Yeah, they're going to leave. And look, and now they're putting more guys into the NCAA tournament. And the football's going to have another game or whatever, another game, another tournament, another this, another that. That's not for the legacy of like basketball or doing whatever. That's for the legacy of money. Right now, I know we're close to the edge. Right now, we don't have a school or a group or a base, or alumni base. You know who runs college sports? Yeah, the TV company.
TV, yeah.
TV.
And I wonder about that, Sonny. Is the TV money eventually going to dry up? How much money is there? Yeah.
Yeah, TV. They tell you. Duke just said, and obviously they're probably going to get done because Duke is one of those power broker schools. But my point was, they want if we don't get this, we're going to make our own deal for 3 or 4 games. How about these tournaments they're having in Las Vegas where they're going to pay $1 million?
Yes. West Virginia just played in one.
Yeah, and George, what was the other problem in the world? And we still have it. Gambling, right?
Mm-hmm.
Gambling.
Well, now, it used to be taboo to talk about it. Now the NFL and the pro sports and everybody is in bed with gambling.
Yeah.
They've opened up a Pandora's box, in my opinion.
Well, George, and the teams are going to play in that tournament, and they're going to have, I just read last night, I think, George, 60 teams in that one in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
And the good thing about it, the players are coming out with a lot of money too, but they're admitting it. They're admitting it. This isn't.
Wow.
I mean, so I lived a long time, and I'm so happy. Thank you for inviting me on. Thank you for how many people are listening to this. Forget Sonny Vaccaro. Just remember what he said, what he told you at the beginning, how it all started. So, because some people, some coaches, some kids played in a basketball game that nobody knew existed. And damn if it wasn't good. And it allowed me, and then 42 years later, Pam and I just celebrated our 42nd anniversary. 42 years later, I'm with this young lady that I met a long time ago through her family with my wife, and she watched all this, and she knows everything. I and Pam want to thank you for having this kind of a program. And for the audience that's listening, is worth more than the New York Times coming out. That's how much it meant to me today, and I appreciate it, George.
Well, Sonny, thank you as always for your friendship, and you've been so helpful to me along the way. You even got me in a movie, The Fish That Saved Pittsburgh.
The Fishes, oh my God!
Yeah, you even got me, and I remember that's where I got to know Jerry Tarkanian pretty well, and we had a great story about his wife called Lois, and he was in the middle of a scene, and I'm on the floor underneath the table talking with Tarkanian's wife while they're shooting the scene. So many things and so many memories. But anyway, I want to mention the book again, Legends and Souls, the memoir of an American original. It's out in paperback now. It's a great read, folks. Pick it up. Sonny, I love you dearly. Thank you very much for your time today. I appreciate it. And give Pam a big kiss for me.
I will, and I want to tell the listeners, the book is good. The book is honest. Thank you, George. I'm proud of it. Thank you. We'll talk later.
All right.
We'll stay in touch. I love you. God bless you.
Take care. Sonny Vaccaro, one of a kind, basketball guru, an American original. We'll wrap things up here on the Sports Line right after this.
Is your lawn getting shaggy? Weeds taking over? Maybe it's time for a full yard cleanup or fresh mulch and clean, crisp edges to bring your landscape back to life. Whatever your lawn needs, Z's Ground Control has you covered. They do it right the first time. Call 724-366-9150 today for your free estimate. Z's Ground Control. You grow it, we mow it.
This Mother's Day, forget the candy and flowers. Win Mom a trip to Napa Valley at Live Casino. Earn entries every day starting May 1st and join our drawings on May 10th. You could win Mom-approved gifts like luxury perfumes, spa gift cards, wine subscriptions, and the grand prize, a trip to Napa Valley. Make this Mother's Day a winner at Live Casino. Route 30 at Westmoreland Mall. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Bright Stripe, Bay County's premier asphalt seal coating professionals, locally owned by Matt and Lexi George. Bright Stripe specializes in residential and commercial asphalt seal coating, also excelling in line striping and layouts, thermoplastic, and infrared asphalt repair. Bright Stripe has succeeded due to their commitment to quality work for 30 years. Bright Stripe, 724-437-6090, or visit bright-stripe.com. BRITE-stripe.com.
Yeah, they're the people I trust. It's the place I go. Home, warehouse, where a house becomes a home.
March brings spring and home improvement season. Planning a home improvement project with your tax refund? Home Warehouse, a best in Fayette winner for home improvements and windows, is the place to go for all your home exterior needs. Warm weather means more outdoor living. Add value to your home with a new deck. Home Warehouse has a great selection of easy-to-maintain composite decking and vinyl railing, plus siding, shutters, windows and doors, roofing shingles, metal and rubber roofing, soffit and fascia, as well as flooring. So for selection, great prices, and hometown service, see Sandy and Donnie at Home Warehouse, Connellsville Street in Uniontown. They know how to make your house a happy home. Shop Monday through Friday, 8 to 4:30, Saturday, 8 to noon.
Home, warehouse, where a house becomes a home.
Is it time for your first home? Or time to trade up to a home that fits your lifestyle? It's time to visit Clayton Homes of Bell Vernon. You'll find special savings along with trade-in and trade-up deals. Imagine beautiful, new, energy-efficient homes packed with the features you've been dreaming about. Trade in and trade up at Clayton Homes of Bell Vernon, 4500 PA 51. Trade-in value toward purchase of a new home determined by resale value and evaluation by home center manager. Additional deposit may be required.
Looking for a great place to eat in Uniontown? Stop by Casey's Sports Cafe, located at 243 South Mount Vernon Avenue and proudly owned by the Vernon family. Casey's is open Monday and Friday from 7 to 3, Tuesday through Thursday 7 to 7, and Saturday and Sunday 7 to 2. Come check out their new items and delicious entrees. And remember, Casey's can cater your next event. Whether it's breakfast, lunch, or dinner, Casey's is the place to eat. Call 724-550-4126.
Hi, this is Rob King. You're listening to the Sportsline with George Von Benko on WMBS.
And that just about puts a capper on what was a jam-packed Sportsline today. Hope you enjoyed the Hall of Fame interviews in hour number 1 with Jason Tiska from Connellsville and Ronnie Fedella talking about his father, the late Ron Fedella, who was such an integral part of South Union and Laurel Highlands athletics. I want to remind everybody the Fayette County Hall of Fame golf outing and luncheon is coming up June 19th at Pleasant Valley Golf Club. 10 individuals, 2 teams will be enshrined. Tickets are going quickly for the luncheon, and also spots are filling up for the golf outing. Golfers can register by phoning Katie Probst at 724-460-9231. Do it quickly because the golf outing is filling up. I want to remind you to stick around. Arnie Amber and Oldies Unlimited are coming up next, and Arnie's got a great guest at 1:15. Ken Brady of the Casinos. Great song. Then You Can Tell Me Goodbye. Ken Brady of the Casinos on with Arnie Amber at 1:15. George Von Benko bidding you and yours a very pleasant good afternoon. And I want to tell you that the Sportsline has been brought to you this morning by my good buddy, Tom Vernon, and KC Sports Cafe, located right here on South Mount Vernon Avenue in Uniontown.